Hi, welcome to video 3 in this 3-part series of how to avoid stress and overcome anxiety in high-pressure situations and events. So my name is Jim Posner. I'm the founder of the Mindful Advantage and the Don't Panic Project. And in the first video, we talked about the importance of rhythmic diaphragmatic breathing, which is really just another way of saying breathing deeply with intention into your belly. And science has proven that when you do this, you lower cortisol levels, you become more grounded, you feel more present, your stress levels go down, and most likely you're going to perform better on a task that you embark on when you're doing this. So that was video 1. Video 2, tip 2, was something called awareness dialogue. Now, in mindfulness is really just another word for awareness, and we talked about how to go through some awareness dialogue when you might be feeling stressed or having some anxiety. And you just are normalizing your feelings by saying, I'm feeling anxious, I feel a little bit stressed, but it's normal to feel this way. Many people feel this way when they're about to do whatever it is that makes you feel anxious. And by going through this little bit of dialogue, you're bringing awareness to your feelings and emotions instead of saying, oh, I feel anxious, I wish I didn't feel this way, go away. Because when you kind of fight these feelings, many times it makes them worse and more intense. So by bringing awareness to the feelings and doing a little bit of this positive self-talk, we can move through those feelings. And again, it's very, very effective prior to going into a high-pressure situation. So when could you use that? Maybe prior to a test or giving a speech or an interview. Now, today, we're going to talk about tip number 3 in this 3-part series. And today's tip is something called power posing. And we're going to get to exactly what that is in a moment. But first, with mindfulness, another big concept that we talk about is something called the mind-body connection. And really what this means is that many of our thoughts manifest in our bodies in negative ways. So perhaps you know somebody, or perhaps you grind your teeth or clench your shoulders, or have your fists tight. And many times this is due to something that we're thinking about, and the reaction is to do this or this. And if you think about it, think about how much energy it takes to grind your teeth and clench your fists and hold this tension in our bodies. With mindfulness, we talk about ways to release that tension. And when you can release that tension, what happens is you can channel all of this negative energy towards something more positive. So that's the mind-body connection. Big theme in mindfulness, something I teach. Now, what I'm talking about with this power posing is actually something that's the reverse. And what I mean by that is, instead of the mind-body connection, we're talking about the body-mind connection. So the way you hold your body can actually increase your performance by lowering cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, and even raising testosterone levels. So if you can affect the way you feel based on the way you are holding yourself, why wouldn't you want to use that really powerful tool? So the way this works is, if you hold yourself in a powerful position, that's why this is called power posing, and some of the positions are known as the Superman or Wonder Woman pose. It's a superhero pose. Again, this is all based on research done by Amy Cuddy. She's a social psychologist, and she teaches at Harvard Business School. She has one of the most watched TED Talks ever, and she's written a New York Times bestseller called Presence. I would highly recommend watching the TED Talk and buying the book. Really, really great tips about increasing your presence and confidence. So back to the superhero pose. This is one of the power poses. Another one is called the victory pose, and you hold your arms up and maybe your chin up a little bit. And the idea is that you're making yourself big and creating a sense of power in yourself. And again, cortisol levels drop, and you're going to feel less stressed. You're going to feel more confident going in to take that test or maybe before you're going on stage, if you're a performer or to give a presentation, whatever the situation may be. Now, the opposite of these power poses are submissive poses. Many times while you're waiting for an interview, we might sit there in a chair waiting for our name to be called, and doing something like this in a submissive pose, or having our hands like this. And the studies that she's done have actually showed that cortisol levels rise and testosterone levels drop when people hold themselves in submissive poses. So lowering your confidence, increasing your stress. So no doubt translating to performing worse in a high stress or high pressure situation. So, if you're about to go on stage or about to take a test or an interview, you definitely don't want to be in a submissive pose. What you want to try to do is you can really sit back with your arms spread out and creating some space and making yourself feel big. So now what I would like to do is just put all three of these tips together and show you how you can use all three of them in really a matter of minutes the next time that you have to go and perform or attend a high stress or high pressure situation or event. So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but next time you go and have to take a test, an interview, give a speech, do a performance on stage, maybe before a big sporting event, give a pitch to a potential client, whatever the case may be, whatever situation that you perceive as being a high pressure situation, if you do these three activities that I've discussed, I guarantee you, and the science behind it shows, that you will perform better. And you could put them all together and do all three in a relatively short period of time. So, let's just take an example. Before the big interview, I might, while I'm actually commuting, I might concentrate on breathing into my diaphragm and relaxing and intentionally breathing into the diaphragm and expanding that belly and just relaxing with the breath. And I might go through that self-awareness dialogue that we talk about and say, okay, I'm going to this interview. I might feel a little bit anxious right now, but it's normal to feel this way. Most people that are about to go into an interview feel this way, and it's okay to feel this way. And then the third thing, another thing you can do with the power posing, you don't just necessarily have to pose, but if you kind of walk and swing your arms proudly with a sense of power while you're walking to that interview in the building, you're going to get the same benefits that we just talked about by doing those power poses. Or, hey, get up and maybe stretch for a moment after you're called to the interview. When you get up from that chair and just stretch. People don't have to know you're power posing. Or while you're waiting to sit down, you can stand there in the superhero pose for a moment. Again, people don't have to know what you're doing. So any way that you see feasible to incorporate all three of these activities into a pre-high pressure situation or event routine, again, you're going to feel better, you're going to be more confident, you're going to perform better, and these are just fantastic, scientifically proven methods to help you overcome stress and anxiety prior to these events. They're all actionable, you can practice them, and if you just have the intention to do them, you will perform better, and I'm sure that you'll be more confident and have less anxiety, which is worth a lot. So thank you for watching this 3-part video series. Again, my name is Jim Posner, founder of the Mindful Advantage and the Don't Panic Project. Look me up at those 2 web addresses, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.